It's a beautiful day.
Yes, it is.
It's a beautiful day. And I can tell you and everyone else, we will build our country, my country, back with pride, honor, and a smile.
The British Virgin Islands are known to have the most beautiful beaches and coral reefs in the world. They're identified as the world's greatest sailing destination and have been the host for the Spring Regatta since 1972. On September 6, 2017, the British Virgin Islands were struck by Category 5 Hurricane Irma.
This is from the British Virgin Islands, and we've been on this since at least 10 o'clock this morning. It's an incredible storm. It has wind gusts of so many dimensions. It's the colors are different. Be careful, guys.
Hurricane Irma has been defined as the strongest hurricane in Atlantic history.
It was the most horrific experience that this country, the British Virgin Islands, has ever had.
With wind speeds exceeding 185 miles per hour, 80% of buildings were lost, as well as 4 lives.
There's something, extraordinary about this storm. Every single person that you speak to agree on one thing. If that storm had hit this country in the middle of the night, they wouldn't have been living to bury the dead.
The greatest threat to life in hurricanes is not the wind, but rather storm surge and coastal flooding.
The ocean literally came 60 feet up and went through his entire house, all his neighbors' houses. He had to swim to his sister's house that was on the hill.
It just happened. I'm sorry to be crying, but it just happened. It was really a terrifying experience, just listening to everything breaking apart around us, and just hoping that it would soon finish, and that we would be alive when it was finished.
This one we knew was going to be altogether different, and you're talking about Category 7 equivalent, over 200 miles an hour winds. So all 60 of us disappeared right down into the depths of the Great House at Necker. And when we came out, it was like a nuclear bomb had hit, and beautiful trees had disappeared, not a leaf to be seen. And you just felt that this was the end.
I had to run from my house actually at 3 in the morning because my sister from St. Martin told me that it was coming to St. Martin 4 o'clock. So I had to get out of my house and come by a neighbor's house.
You're just sitting there and waiting for it to hear that. You're hearing stuff like that. You look outside, it is daytime. Had it been nighttime, it'd have been like a Freddy Krueger horror movie. You just can't see who's the culprit.
But when the second part, after the eye came, it was like the worst thing I've ever experienced in my life. I wouldn't wish this on anyone.
Just 10 days after Irma, Hurricane Maria hit the British Virgin Islands.
But I was chatting to a guy in the quay there, And his mum had died like 2 days after Maria came through, and he was adamant that that was just through heartbreak, just seeing her entire family history being wiped out, the house gone, all the sentimental value of all the items in the house. You know, it wasn't the financial loss.
My mom threw her off the bed, threw the bed at the door, went into a hallway with 3 doors. That door started to shatter, to rattle. It broke, and we went into the bathroom. Sat on a bucket, her and my dad, right? A bucket, a stool, the toilet, and the door was shaking.
Yeah, I've been to quite a few disasters, and I'd say I haven't seen anything that had been hit quite so hard in terms of an entire country being affected.
We have stories that were told by people on the hill here of boats coming in, catamarans coming in, 15, 20 feet in the air, spinning around.
This is my home. This is practically everything we have left of it. The remainings are just rubbles. It was a beautiful home, to be honest. Everything was in place, intact, with everything in order.
I have children here who have lost shoes. They've lost the roofs. You know, you talk to them, you mention, oh man, now they're getting a little better. But you know, there's a little child looking up at you, eyes are filled with water. I have lost everything. They're wearing other children's shoes. Some children here don't even have shoes.
We regressed, I would say, more than 50 years.
The word that came into my spirit was pruning. I see the fact that God didn't destroy us as a people, because He could have done that. The storm could have wiped us out. That's how ferocious the storm was. I don't wish the storm on my worst enemy because it was that bad. But we are still standing. So the pruning is that we've lost our stuff. All our stuff has been removed, but He left us, and He's given us an opportunity now to build afresh, build anew, and build a country that we will be proud of, that visitors will be proud of, but that He will be proud of.
We will build our country, my country, back.
The BVI is the most beautiful place on earth. What we've got to now do is make it even more beautiful.
We met persons like the day after out on the road. Everyone had a smile on their face. They were happy to see each other. We were happy to see each other. And everyone was saying, I lost everything, but thank God I'm alive.
The spirit of the people here, the warmth of the people haven't changed. And yes, the storm came. It caused a lot of damage, but there is life after the storm.
I came here, I saw that not one tree was standing and the roofs were gone and everything that I had put in was totally destroyed. And I knew right then and there, there's not even a 1% chance that I'm backing out. Even though it may not look the same today, this is the place that I want to live in, invest in, and continue to believe in for the rest of my life.
There's a lot of people who are straight on the plane, but I would rather be involved in the rebuilding of a nation. I love it here.
We opened the doors to strangers the day after the storm because we had Wi-Fi. It was important for us to share those resources so persons could have relayed to their family that, you know, they were safe and they were alive and, you know, they're keeping well.
We saw our role in the first part of the recovery to be critical, not only for the students, so that we could get the school open and get them into a positive, healthy routine, get active, get learning again, but also it was very important for their parents. You know, we knew that their parents really couldn't get on with their lives and back to work and back to building their homes and moving on until they knew that their kids were in a safe place.
So we decided to hold meetings every day. We got everybody motivated, and as you can see, we cleaned up the whole neighbourhood, and we used whatever food we had and cooked everybody hot meals as a way of thanking them every day.
All of a sudden, You're on the street's blocked. All of a sudden you got backhoes coming out of the woodwork, moving the trees and getting the trash out of the way and everything. It's not about, fancy governments. It's not about anything. It's about the people on the street responding.
The first thing we tried to do was get a desal plant going on mosquito islands so that we could actually supply everybody with clean water. And then just to get some of our engineers, over there, working with Larry's Island and working with other people in the region just to try to make sure that the water plants got going and the electricity got going.
The lunchbox is a small trailer that survived the storm. We realised we had loads of food left in there that we now no longer had power to keep. So I started cooking it up and came up with the idea of just doing free food for the kids.
We've been serving food now for the past month and something. Every day we serve between 120 to 180 kids.
Here we are 8 weeks later, green shoots coming back, and the sun is out, the sea is beautiful, the sand is still there, the people of the Caribbean are extraordinary.
Yes, some of the major attractions have been damaged, but they're being rebuilt. And most important part of a destination is the warmth of the people that you meet, and that hasn't changed.
I got back as quickly as I could after the storm and hitched a ride over from Puerto Rico. And the reason was, we employ people here.
It's important for the moorings to get back online quickly because we owe it to our customers, our staff, and the British Virgin Islands.
And 8 weeks later, a lot of these things have been fixed, and decency is beginning to come back to people's lives.
We have an immediate recovery plan, which is about getting schools open, which is what we're doing today, getting things working, getting people shelter, making sure that electricity comes back on and water. We've then got a short-term plan, which is about getting tourists back, getting the economy back going, getting people back into jobs. And then we've got a long-term plan, which is about rebuilding it even better than it was before.
This was a hurricane like no other, and it has really been overwhelming, so to speak. We're doing what we have to do. We're cleaning up. We're trying to get our power back online. We're trying to get our businesses up and running.
In the next 3 months, we hope to have the industry back in terms of people. A lot of them are coming back, but we want to have 1,500, 2,000 of them back by the end of January, I would say.
I've been to see the head of the World Bank. I've been to see the head of the ID, International Development Bank. People in the BVI who were reliant on tourism to be trained as builders and craftsmen, so that they've got jobs. They've got jobs in the meantime whilst they're rebuilding the hotels that can then be open to tourists again soon.
Things that I always say, that there is no tourism without the environment, and so hand in hand with the redevelopment of our tourism industry is to ensure that the environment is not only replenished, but it is also sustainable for the long term.
Like 25% of all the money that pours out of this country pours out in people wanting to buy dirty fuel. So create our own fuel from the sun and from the wind here, and that money won't have to leave the country.
We have an opportunity to build back better, to have better zoning laws. We have an opportunity in the face of climate change to make sure that our structures are stronger.
You can't be a good international school without engaging deeply with the community around you, and this has given us the opportunity to engage in all new ways with the extended BVI community. And we've met new families, we've made new friends.
It's not about me. None of this is about me. This is about the country.
So what is the best thing we can do? Start rebuilding and recreating jobs. We're now open, the marina's open, the restaurant's open, we have people working, and what better thing can you do?
We reopen on that Saturday, December 9th, with approximately 120 boats on the water. We're bringing some boats from the Mediterranean to assist in that fleet growth.
People have taken stock and seen the progress that the island's made and see that the schools are open. There's confidence that they want to come back.
On an annual basis, we welcome over 500,000 passengers. So our role is to ensure that these passengers get the right first impression. And I'm very, very confident that before the year is up, or early in the new year, we will see cruise ships coming back. And more importantly, it's not just the cruise ships coming back, but it's the experience that they have when they return.
The most helpful thing that people can do to help the BVI get back on its feet, first of all, is come back. If you lived here, come back, continue your livelihood. The island's progressing at a much faster rate than I ever would have imagined.
Well, we need the tourists back so the economy can start going, so you can have a vacation 10 years from now. The prince is coming here on Saturday, and if the prince can come, why can't we have tourists?
BVI Strong means a lot to me.
The strength in the BVI are the people on the street, the BVI Islanders. They're honest, they're hardworking, and they do the right thing when it's necessary.
The confidence that we have as a community here, wherever we're from, we are all here together.
To me, it means seeing the storm team that we had here on property react during the eye of the hurricane. And what I haven't told you is we had 80 guests in the hotel blocks behind you. So they took the opportunity to evacuate those guests and make sure they were safe. That sort of action shows how strong the BVI is.
And on to this day, people are walking around with smiles on their faces, even though they have nothing left or very little left. But they are feeling very hopeful, they're very happy to be alive, and they know that with their health and with their strength, that they can rebuild.
And historically, when we knock down, we get up.
There's just this gratitude for life and a gratitude that I'm alive, the people I love are alive, and we're going to rebuild, and we're going to recover, and we're going to do it together. And we're going to be stronger, and we're going to be more resilient, and the BVI is even going to be more incredible than it was before Irma.
Yes, we were pushed back 50 years, but the thing that we have that we didn't have before is knowledge. And that we now have. With the help of the rest of the world, with our own resolve, we will be able to build back and be and continue to be BVI Strong.